You guys, it's been such a long time since the last time we've sat on the couch in my living room and had a proper talk. Welcome to season 3, episode 1 of Hardwig Soft Life, the podcast. Whoa, child, it has been a long time getting to this episode, and I'm going to tell you guys why. I've filmed this episode. I have filmed this episode, I don't know how many times, and I hated every single version of it. And a lot of it is because I was just not able to be present. So earlier this year, actually, end of last year, going into this year, I told myself that I was going to put on this big event, the event called The Intersection. And I did. And we're going to, go ahead and give a little clap for me, pat on the back for me for having accomplished that big goal, because I honestly didn't think I was going to be able to pull it off, you guys. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking when I said I was going to throw a 100-person event on my own and that it was going to be something similar to a mini Essence Fest. I was absolutely delusional, you guys. And honestly, like, I encourage everyone to be as delusional as I was, because I am very proud of that accomplishment. But with all that being said, season 3 was supposed to come out way sooner than what it has. And I couldn't be present in filming. So it's very much different filming your solo episodes by yourself, because there's no one here. So you're just talking and it's all good. But when you're filming a solo episode and you have a camera person, what I've learned is that it actually makes me very nervous, because it's just you and one other person in the room and they're not interacting with you at all. So it's kind of awkward, honestly. So we filmed this episode once in about, I think it was like February I filmed it. And then I tried it again in March. And both times, not only was I absolutely nervous, I don't know. Of course, it's different too when you have a camera person and you have a second person with you in the interview, right? Because you're very engrossed in the conversation. You're immersed in talking to them and you are very interested in their story. So it's not about you. So it's a lot easier to do an interview on camera when there's a camera person. But it's very hard to just have a solo, very vulnerable conversation by yourself, with one other person. Anyway, so there was that. I was nervous. But then not only was I nervous, I just wasn't there at all. Like, I have been the most non-present person throughout the first quarter of the year and the last quarter of last year, because October is when I decided that I wanted to start planning for the intersection. Now, mind you, I had no idea what I was I had no idea what I was doing. I have never thrown an event to that magnitude before. The only other event that I've ever thrown was my wedding. And I did have an event organizer for it. It was all my ideas, but I did have an event organizer for it. And they were super helpful and all, but I've never thrown an event. So I told myself that I was going to throw this event that was geared toward creative entrepreneurs, very akin to like an Essence Fest, very akin to, what a Culture Con is, because we just don't have anything like that in Tampa, Florida. I wanted it to be panel focused, but I did want the element of some music, libations, celebration, people networking, and just like community building, right? I wanted all of those things and more. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then a lot of people were telling me, hey, Melissa, like, that's a great ambition to have, but you're going to lose a lot of money hosting an event and you're probably not going to get any sponsorships, because no one does on their first event. And that's okay. And me being me, I was like, nah, I'm going to do it and I'm going to get sponsorships. And I did. And so I think I'm going to possibly make some content about how to obtain sponsorships when you are a new event thrower, if that's the word, or when you're the founder of an event, because no one tells you how to do it. And I created this whole pitch deck. I sent it out to people and I was able to get a food sponsor, a drink sponsor. I was able to have Truist Bank be my title sponsor, which is lit, because it's very rare that you see a financial institution want to back up a creative event. So that's when I knew that I was cooking with hot grease, honestly. And so I just wasn't all there at all. This was huge for me, and to do it by myself honestly, like, I don't know what I was thinking. I was insane for doing it alone. I created the graphics. I, did the marketing. So I was the marketing team. I was the graphic designer, which I'm not a graphic designer. So if you guys go back and look at it, it does look cool and it's nice and everything, but I'm not a graphic designer. I try my best, but I was the graphic designer. I was the marketing coordinator. I was the sponsorship coordinator as well. I was the contact for the vendors. I was just wearing so many different hats that for me to try to do Hardwick Self Life was impossible. So yeah, in Melissa Fashion, we did the first episode and it was terrible. I was like, yo, it was actually really tragic. I started talking about like the war in Iran and I get it, like that those are things that happen, right? I'm not that self-involved of a person, but it actually went down a really depressing road and I was like, nah, that's just not the vibe I'm going for. And then the second one came out. I did the second one and I didn't like it either. It was just something about it just wasn't right. On top of planning an event and then taking a big pause on Hardwick Soft Life. I'm so glad that I'm coming back now because this is my passion project. I love all the things that I do, but getting to yap with everyone on my couch is by far my most favorite thing. But then on top of all that, I decided that I was going to do 75 hard. Who the fuck does that? During the most stressful part of my life, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna not drink and exercise profusely and read a lot. And honestly, like looking back now, because I'm actually almost done. I started my 75 hard journey on February 2nd, and we are now on April 1st, and it ends April 18th. I think that was probably the best thing that I could have done because I was very laser focused the entire time that I was putting together this event. And just the amount of energy that you get to from not drinking. And it's not to say that I drink a ton because I really don't anymore. I used to be quite a heavy drinker. I used to be a girl that was drinking whiskey neat heavily too. But I'm not too heavy of a drinker, but just the burst of energy that I had and the clarity and the sharpness that I had, I can't say that I have felt like this. I haven't felt like this in a long time, probably since like my early 20s. And I'm feeling really fit, y'all. Like honestly, 75 hard 75 hard was the way to go. I do like, I think about it and I'm like, who challenges themselves that much in such a short period of time? But then when you look at the overall outcome, it's like, nah, like I did my big one and honestly, like one complemented the other one. But we're back with Hardwick Self Life. A lot of things have happened since our last season ended. The last season ended in October. And since October, I don't want to make this a recap episode either because I feel like a lot of people already follow me on social media. So I just feel like trying to like recap it all is that's OD, honestly. That's just, but we'll do a quick one real quick. While I was on break, I started co-hosting with some friends on their podcast called Shake the Room. Shout out to Keem, shout out to Lee, shout out to Wendy and DJ Too Easy Lee. Shout out to all the guys. And I had a ball. I had the most fun time because they are so unserious, like absolutely unserious. And they roasted me a lot. And I know that that sounds crazy to say that I had a good time being roasted, but I think that in the industry that we're in, it's kind of necessary, right? So you definitely always want to put your best foot forward. And I think that I do. But a lot of the time, a word that I kept hearing in this season of my life was, you're too polished, Melissa. You're too polished. Now, to know me in reality is to know that I'm actually not that polished of a person. I'm not that put together. It gets a little delulu over here. It gets a little bit insane. It gets a little bit unruly. But to know me by way of the screen is to think, oh, Melissa's got it all together and Melissa's a very polished person. And so I kept hearing that and I kind of just grew to dislike the word, honestly. Like I was like, polished. Like you guys are making me sound like I'm Katie Couric or something. Like it's boring. And I also, ended up having a brand strategist for a little while during that time frame. And he also kept using that word. So while I was on the Shake the Room podcast, something that I learned to do was to let go and just kind of be more of myself, even with the cameras on. And because the guys used to like roast me and humble me so much, it worked, right? It brought me to this next season where I'm like, no, like it's okay to be a little bit silly. Like the episodes don't have to be perfect because no one is here for a perfect person. Like y'all are here for me. Which, thank you for being here for me. But y'all are here for me. And I'm not a perfect person. That is the entire point of Hardwick Self Life, right? Is we're talking about real shit. And if I come across as everything is polished and pretty and perfect, like that's not real shit, right? So I had a great time with the guys. I got to meet a lot of people. And it's also cool just being in a group environment, right? Everyone has their style. Like you've got Lee, he's real country, real funny, and he asks really insightful questions to the guests. And then you work with, Keem, who's like a real pretty boy New Yorker, kind of like abrupt sometimes kind of person, but he's also very curious. And then you've got me, and I feel like I'm kind of like the emotional intelligence there, right? As a woman, you come in with a softer touch. And so when you're working with two other people on a crew, you learn a lot about like your interview style. You learn a lot about your presence. You learn a lot about the value that you bring that you don't really think about too much, I think, when you're by yourself. So I did that from like October to like December. It was a lit time, and it was a great way for me to stay active as a podcaster. Now, I also decided from October time that I was going to start planning my event, the intersection. And so that's kind of when I started laying down the foundation, but I didn't really start planning until I got my sponsor in November, my first sponsor. And in November, something really awesome happened too. I had a hosting gig, my first big hosting gig for the Power Networking Conference, which they shorten it, they call it PNX. I actually got that opportunity in November, and I was in Atlanta. Now, this is an event that is huge in Atlanta. It's actually on the Forbes list of Black entrepreneurial events to go to. It is put on by Dr. George C. Fraser, and my mentor is actually Dr. George C. Fraser's mentee. His name is Delano A. Johnson, and Delano A. Johnson is the one who gave me the opportunity. And so I met a ton of awesome people. I met Les Brown, I met John Hope Bryant. Like, I met all of the really heavy hitters, and I just could not believe that I shared the same stage with them. So that was so dope, right? Like it's been crazy. There's a lot to catch y'all up on, I guess. So I guess my recap isn't gonna be as quick as I thought it was gonna be. And then throughout that time, I just kept planning the intersection, and then we finally got through it in March. Just happened. It's been like a week and some change now. I spent a lot of time recovering because I think I was just depleted after the fact. Like everyone kept asking me during the event if I was taking it all in. And it felt really surreal to me that I was able to pull off such a big like just for my first event. And everyone kept telling me, "Oh wow, you set the bar high. Like I can't believe this is your first event." But I personally couldn't believe that I was able to pull it off. And so I couldn't take it all in that day because I was just in it. And I don't think I took it in even the next day. The next day I was already, this is how I know I'm insane. The next day I was already thinking about what my next big project is going to be. And I have some ideas of what I want to do next, but it's taken me about a week and some change to really rest in what I achieved. And I know that us as high achieving women, especially as creatives too, if you're a creative, if you're a high achieving woman, if you're just a person who's always on to the next thing, it's really hard to rest in the fact that like, wow, I accomplished this. It's really hard to stop and smell the flowers because it's never enough, right? You have like this insatiable appetite to just keep going and growing, and you got to do more, and you got to go to the next thing. And I think that that week and a half that I've taken to kind of slow down and not do much, I was able to collect myself mentally to do this episode of Hard Awake Self Life finally, but also really look at the progression from where we came from, right? For those of you guys who have been rocking with me since episode 0, season 1, it was real ratchet. It was real bootleg, right? It was just, I mean, it was this exactly. It was me sitting in front of my camera with my mic, no camera crew, no nothing, and we had no idea what we were going to be doing. And I didn't even know that people would listen to my podcast. And here we are. It's been 2 years since we put out the first episode ever. And we've gotten to interview some really cool people along the way, which I'm so grateful. I mean, I'm grateful for Monique Carrillo, Tracy Baker Simmons, Giovanni Samuels, Mr. Esso. Beyond grateful for some of the people that I've met, the stories that we've heard, the stories that I've been able to share, that they've entrusted me to share. The opportunities that I've gotten along the way are insane. Power Networking Conference was not on my bingo card for the year of 2025. And it's just, I don't know, it's a surreal thing. And then it's like I threw my own event and people are asking me to talk. People are sending me messages telling me, Oh, I can't wait to hear you speak one day. And I don't know, just it's forced me to really look at all of these things that have happened and be like, damn, like I've done a lot. And I encourage all of my friends listening to do the same. I encourage all of my friends listening to really sit down and think about where you are today. And whether that be professionally in your career, personally, whether that be fitness wise, mentally, whatever the case may be, I want you to take a breather and I want you to really think about where you are and think about where you were 6 months ago in that journey, whatever that journey may be. And if you can't remember, I don't know if you guys are all like serial, like documentarians like I am, but I definitely am always documenting stuff. And if you are, I need you to go back in your phone like 6 months and I need you to find where you were, what you were doing, and really give yourself the flowers that you deserve. Because if you don't do it, I'm not going to say nobody will, but if you don't do it, like others may not. And you really need to acknowledge how far you've come and where you're going. Flowers is a big topic, I think, too, because at the end of it's a big topic for me because at the end of the intersection, my co-host Giddy actually presented me with some flowers and gave this beautiful speech about how, she sees me and the woman that I am and the things that I'm trying to accomplish and basically how appreciative she was of being there and putting this whole thing together. And she said, I'm gonna give you your flowers. We see you, Melissa. And that moment has resonated with me so deeply. That moment has been sitting with me for the last week and a half. And I think that moment single-handedly probably is the reason, aside from like I took time to rest, but that moment that I've been holding on to is the reason why I'm like, no, like I should pop my shit. Like I should be really proud of myself. And I think that you should be really proud of yourself too. So yeah, that's been my last that's been my last quarter of 2025 and the first quarter of 2026. A lot of things have happened. A lot of opportunities are coming up. I'm really excited to share some of them with y'all. I can't share everything because there are some things that they're uncertain. They're uncertain and I don't want to jinx it. I do have a few events that I'm gonna either be moderating for or being a host for or being a panelist of. So I'll keep you guys updated on social media with that. But yeah, like we are in season 3, episode 1, y'all. What else is going on in my life right now? I feel like I'm in a I don't want to say moment of uncertainty. I definitely am in a transitional phase right now. And I think that any other time that I've been in a transitional phase, I feel like I've been struck with fear basically. And this is the first time in my life I feel really zen. I don't know everything that's to come, but I'm actually really excited for anything that is to come, if that makes sense. Ryan and I are still actively trying for a baby, but honestly, like I don't know. I don't think I'm as panicked about it as I was. Last year I was like, oh my God, like we have to do it. We has to be right. We have to. And every month that we tried and I didn't get pregnant, I was like in a state of panic, right? And I've decided to just kind of let go and let God when it comes to that. I think that I should really enjoy the process of trying, right? Because I hear that that's the fun part until the baby comes rather than stressing it. And honestly, I feel like I have a lot going on anyways that, why am I rushing, right? Like what I'll be turning 35 next month. So I'm only 34, 35 years old. And so there's time, right? I think that I'm working on my relationship with time. That's something that we're working through in therapy is my relationship with time. I've always been of the mindset that, well, I don't have time for this and I don't have time for that. And this needs to hurry up and it needs to be on my time. And what I've been learning in the last few months and really embracing too, not just learning, but embracing it, is that things are not going to be always on my time. And sometimes what you think is the time is not actually the time. So all in due time. And so, yeah, like we're still trying for a baby, but honestly, like, it'll happen when it's meant to happen, right? We've decided that we're going to move in September. So I'm really excited. We're moving states. We're moving to Atlanta, Georgia. I have lived in Florida since I was 5 years old. Primarily, if you're not from here, I would say Tampa is where I'm from. But if you are from here, specifically, I grew up in Brandon, Riverview area, and then I lived in Ruskin for a little bit, which is, if you're not from here, it's essentially the boonies kind of. Those areas are just now starting to pick up some traction. But that's where I grew up, and I've always been here, and I've always wanted to. I love Atlanta, love Atlanta. If I wasn't gonna move to Atlanta, and I could afford moving to California, I'd move to California. But when moving to Atlanta, it is of the utmost importance for me that when I have a child, that my child sees Black people in all aspects of life, right? I want my child to know that anything is possible for them. And although Tampa has become more diverse in the last few years, it's not as diverse as I would like in terms of raising a child. There's also the fact that Tampa's a smaller city. Atlanta has a lot more opportunity for some of the things that I'm trying to do professionally. It's a big leap for Ryan and I because this is a big move for us together, right? And so we're very excited, but we are doing things to get prepared for that move. If you're hearing any noise in the background, we actually have a friend of ours doing some work at our house. He just started a construction company, Myman Construction. His name is Isaac. He's amazing. But if you guys are hearing some noise, he's actually doing some work outside of our home because we're getting this home ready to rent it out for when we do move. But I'm beyond thrilled, and I know that Ryan is looking for a change of pace as well. So I know that Atlanta is probably not going to be our forever home, but it will be for a good chunk of time. Like I definitely see us there for a while, and so there's that. And yeah, just nervousness around a move, more excitement than nervousness. The forever existentialism that I have. I don't even know if existentialism is a word, but the forever feeling of existentialism, just turning another year older. I cannot believe I'm turning 35. I cannot believe I'm a grown lady, y'all. I don't know who let me grow up. I don't know who let me be an adult, but I am an adult. Like, I'm grown. Like, okay, so anybody who's roughly my age will understand what I'm saying, but when you turn 30, you think you're grown. You feel like, oh, I'm an adult now. When you're in your mid 30s, because 30 isn't really that much different than your 20s, your late 20s. It's like a continuation of your late 20s. But then when you turn like 35 or 34, that's when you're like, oh shit, like I am in this. I am a grown up. Like I'm a auntie now. I am in my mid 30s. I am in my mid 30s. I am grown. And that is how I'm feeling. I'm like, wow, I thought I was old 5 years ago. But now I'm like, not that I'm old. I don't want to say I feel old. I feel more seasoned as an adult. Like I can definitely, when I go talk to people and they're in their late 20s, I'm like, oh, like there's a definite difference here. And really just like the 30s has been such a good decade. I'm not going to lie to you. Like I love my 30s right now. I just can't believe I'm already halfway through them. So just like the forever feeling of existentialism, of feeling like I haven't achieved enough. Like, oh my God, I'm 35 almost. I'm racing with the clock. I gotta hurry up and get all my professional and creative endeavors out the way. And then I gotta have this baby. And, and I wanna have a child, don't get me wrong, y'all. But as a woman, you feel like, as a woman who's not had a child yet and still has a lot of, ambitions professionally, you really do start to feel like you're racing against the clock. And I know that there are a lot of women who are business owners and who are wives and mothers simultaneous. And I don't think it's impossible because I see a lot of people doing it and doing it well. I just know that it's more difficult. And so I'm always thinking about that in the back of my mind. Is like, am I doing enough? Have I done enough? Do I have enough to show for the age that I'm in? And I feel okay, but you have your moments of that. And so season 3 is going to be fun. I'm really excited. We're going to have a lot more home episodes like this just because it's more comfortable for me and it's not as polished. And we have a few interviews lined up. Our next episode is going to be with someone whom I admire greatly, who he's just a dope individual, and he's someone that I met at the Power Networking Conference in November. So I really can't wait. We're going to stick to our schedule of every 2 weeks. And yeah, just happy listening, you guys. I just wanted to do a quick first episode where we catch up with one another before we dive into what is season 3. And I'm hyped. And I thank you for listening. And I thank you guys for rocking with me. And I thank you all for continuing to create a safe space for me to continue to create. And also, it's vice versa. Like, this is also a safe space that I create for you all. So I'm just super amped. And yeah, that's all I got for y'all. This is a quick little episode. And I hope that you have an awesome rest of your week. Y'all take care.